Welcome everybody, CJ the Smart Guy with you, and today I have one of the Black Bitcoin Billionaire students who's been with us since the beginning, since December 2020 on Clubhouse, and her name is Brittni Truss. She came out to Detroit, Michigan when I was on tour with Najah Roberts, and so I kind of want to put her tests or her knowledge to the test today and see some, what she's grown and how she feels about the Black Bitcoin Billionaires, because it's helped me a lot professionally, but I want to take it to the students. So Brittni, thank you for coming on. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So first, I would like to ask, how did you find out about the Black Bitcoin Billionaires in the first place?
I was actually on Clubhouse and I was following one of your mods actually into another room, and I seen he was in this Black Bitcoin Billionaires and he was very knowledgeable. So I said, why not follow him and see what this group is about?
Okay, if I might ask, do you know who the moderator was?
Yes, it was Ryan Lawrence.
Ryan Lawrence. Shout out to the young Malcolm X. He's been putting a lot of people on, done lots of work with him. I met him actually in Los Angeles. So for those that don't know, Najah Roberts is a cryptocurrency exchange owner in Inglewood, California. And she and Hill Harper linked together to create a Black Wall Street wallet. And we traveled around the whole country. I went to 22 out the 34 cities. And so I met Brittni in Detroit. And so what she's saying is she was already following Ryan Lawrence, who I met in California, but he was in New York as well. And so cool. So you saw Ryan was in the club. And so, how did you feel your first day coming into the Black Bitcoin Billionaires room?
A little overwhelming.
Little overwhelming. What was overwhelming about the room?
It really wasn't the room. It was just the information that I didn't really know about too much about. I heard of Bitcoin, but I didn't really understand it and understand its value. So, and it was also overwhelming to see actually Blacks actually hosting the room and actually knowing about Bitcoin. So it was exciting and it was scary at the same time.
Got you. So you said you had already heard of Bitcoin. When was the first time that you heard about Bitcoin?
Back 2008 when I was in college.
2008?
No, sorry, 2009. 2009, I'm sorry, 2009.
Okay. So way back when it first began.
Correct.
Why didn't you get into it back then?
Honestly, I don't have an answer why I didn't. I just seen that I was actually getting my computer looked at from the tech center, and I seen it was a flyer saying something about Bitcoin. It was like the next new thing, and I just thought it was like a scam type deal. So I just ignored it, but clearly I was wrong.
Well, all of us, we get in when we get in.
Correct.
So it's probably a good thing, because a lot of people, when they first get into Bitcoin, they do get scammed. That's why we have scam awareness classes like with Black Regal, as well as Charlene Federico. We have cybersecurity people such as Fred Brandon or Jasmine Brunson. So we try to educate us, our community, so that they don't get caught up in these scams.
Correct.
So don't feel bad for not getting into it when it was under $1. Imagine what you could have today. But
clearly.
Yes. Okay. So you didn't get into it then. I would say, around what time period did you come to the first Black Bitcoin Billionaires room? Around what month or year or any of that?
December 2020.
December 2020. Okay. So, and at that point, had you accumulated any Bitcoin? Don't say how much you have. Never, look, rule number one, never say how much you have.
I don't have any Bitcoin
at all.
So I don't know what they're even talking about. But
okay, cool.
If I did.
Yeah.
When did I start? Or when did I accumulate?
Yeah, did you already have some before you came to the room, or did we convince you through the education to get some?
If I did, I had a little bit before I came into the room.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So came into the room. What was one of the first things that you learned in the room?
I guess, oh goodness, so it's a lot. Who created it? Bitcoin, or was it a group or a single person? When did it, I guess, first get invented? Learning about the white paper, read the white paper.
Okay, so real quick, what is the Bitcoin white paper?
It pretty much tells what Bitcoin is, and pretty much what tells what Bitcoin is and who created it and what its purpose is.
Got you. So this is really important, correct, right? So a lot of people, they come into Bitcoin and they don't even understand, anything about it. They just think money. They're seeing these videos. You got YG with his ledger out. You got Saweetie with her ice blinged out ledger. And like, they don't really understand anything about what they're doing. They just see it as a status symbol or, a trend. So for you to even mention the Bitcoin white paper, for anybody who's trying to get into Bitcoin, that is one of the very first things
Correct.
that they should be learning about.
Correct.
So congrats to you on that.
Thank you.
Then I would say, so you say who created Bitcoin?
Oh goodness, Satoshi Nakamoto.
There you go. And is that a person, individual, or?
We don't know.
We don't know. Okay. And so what is a Satoshi?
The smallest unit of a Bitcoin.
Okay. How many Satoshis are there in a Bitcoin?
100 million.
There we go. See, look, shout out to the BBB. Look, just the fact that she knew those off the top, those are like some of the most basic like questions that people have when they get into this space.
Right.
So now we know who created it. We know how many Satoshis, are in one Bitcoin. Because most people say $45,000 for a whole Bitcoin. I'm not spending all that.
Right.
And so for somebody who says that it costs them $45,000 in a Bitcoin, what would you then tell them?
You can pretty much buy Satoshis. You pretty much buy fractions of a Bitcoin. You don't have to have a whole Bitcoin. You just accumulate more Satoshis.
Okay. And where are some places for them to accumulate Satoshis?
Cash App. Of course, the Black Wall Street wallet by Hill Harper and Najah Roberts.
There we go. See, she's learning. Now she's got the marketing going on for sure. So, okay. So then once you have your Bitcoin on Cash App or on the Black Wall Street wallet, then what would be the next step that you think would be to do?
Move it off the exchange.
And why would they move it off the exchange?
Because it's about self-sovereignty.
There you go. And what does self-sovereignty mean to you?
It's about owning your own wealth.
Owning your own wealth. And why is that important to you?
I think it's important to me. It's important to me because it's something that the government cannot control or dictate.
And I think that's actually very important. So I'm not sure if you're aware or if any of you guys are aware, but in Canada, I just got DM'd on Instagram by a CPA that's in Canada, and he was saying that the government has officially told everybody that they can freeze their bank accounts to anybody who's trying to protest or to anybody who's trying to help the truckers in Canada. So they are actively shutting down people's bank accounts in Canada. And so, owning Bitcoin, meaning owning your wealth, is huge for self-sovereignty. Like,
Correct.
People think self-sovereignty in terms of, well, I have so much US dollars, I can do what I want to do.
Correct.
But if the government can freeze your account,
You can't do anything.
you can't really do anything. And if you take that cash onto a bank, onto an airplane, you take $100,000 worth of cash on an airplane, they gonna seize you.
Correct.
So it's one of these things where self-sovereignty is extremely important. So I'm glad that you're aware of that. So, okay. So my next question would be, a lot of these people, these young people who are getting into this space, they're really big into the NFTs and to the metaverse and, different cryptocurrencies. What would you say to any of the kids who are, in the metaverse, NFTs, or, just trying to get the next big cryptocurrency?
I would say first learn about Bitcoin, learn the foundation of Bitcoin. And then once you have a good understanding of that, then you can branch off and do other things.
Okay. And what if somebody's like, I don't really care about Bitcoin? How would that make you feel after learning the information that you've learned?
You can't save everybody. So in the sense of people going to do what they're going to do. And if that's the route that they want to take, all you can do is just respect their decision and keep it pushing. Yeah,
for sure. We were on Clubhouse and they were talking about Sweetie with the iced out ledger. And it was a really good debate because on one end you have people who are saying, well, at least she's flashing a ledger and not cash, because if somebody wants to rob your ledger, they still have to figure out the seed word and the private keys. Just because they took your ledger doesn't mean they actually took your cryptocurrency or your Bitcoin.
Or they have access.
Yeah, but if you're flashing cash, then once that cash is gone, unless you got it marked or you got trackers on, that stuff is gone.
Right.
So some people look at it as an upgrade, and other people are looking at it, well, the celebrities aren't teaching our community correct. So you being in this space, what would you tell somebody the correct way to come into this, like detail for detail, and what resources would you give to them?
Well, first I would say I don't like people in my business. I don't like people to know what I'm involved in. So I'm a very quiet person. I keep to myself. So I don't want people to really know what I'm involved in, especially if you have to deal with money. I would first say just go into the BBB rooms and really just learn, take notes, and really just be inspired. I mean, you got Dr. Shalair, Black Regal, you, of course, with taxes. And just really take notes and learn and ask questions and don't be scared. It can be overwhelming, but I would say if you keep continuously go in there and just be confident in yourself, you will get the hang of it eventually.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really good advice. So, okay, so now you got the BBB. Mm-hmm. I was going on tour with Najah, and we came to Detroit. So what made you come to Detroit? How far did you have to drive to come to our spot? And why did you charge me and Black Regal up?
It took me 30 minutes to get there, and I wanted to learn more about Bitcoin, and I noticed they were having a tour and they were close by. They were coming to Detroit, so why not meet the people I've been listening to for the past year and a half, or a year and a couple months, I should say. And I did not charge Black Regal and CJ.
She did.
No, I did not. I just simply walked up to CJ and asked, did he know who I was? And asked him, was he following me on social media? They're trying to make it seem like I bullied them or I'm a bully.
She bullied us.
I am not. And I asked Black Regal, was next to him, and I just say, hi, my name is Brittni. I follow you guys on Clubhouse. And they try to make it seem like I was just like, you know, like follow me. And it was, here's a demonstration. And they try to make it seem like I'm just a bully. I mean, I'm very slim. I'm like 5'6". I'm nothing compared to Black Regal, who's like over 6 feet. CJ's like this. So this whole demeanor, and it's like I'm a bully, it's just overboard.
I had come from California because I had some business to handle. So that's the reason I missed some of the tour. And Detroit was my first place coming back. So literally when I came back, I saw the news cameras out there. I saw how many people were out there. It was a lot bigger than the first few, places we went on tour. And, Brittni came up to us and she was just like, hey, do you know who I am? And I'm like, I don't have any idea in terms of who she is. And she's like, do you follow me back on Clubhouse? And she said the same thing to me as well as Regal. Shout outs to Black Regal. This is his this is his hoodie, the Regal Liberation. Make sure y'all support that. He also has his scam awareness classes on the BBB, and then he has his own, the Regal Liberation podcast as well. So make sure you guys check that out. But she came and was like, you don't follow us on social media. No, Thing is, I never followed her because I didn't know who she was. What? And Black Regal did follow her, and then she had to wind up apologizing. So make sure you let everybody know that the reason you came to us, what was the reason that you came to tour? You said, again, you wanted to meet the people, and then you wanted to do what? Like, because I look at this as networking. Say that one more time, why you came.
So I wanted to learn more about Bitcoin, and I guess in the sense of face-to-face, since I always hear them through Clubhouse. And I wanted to meet them in person. Of course, yes, to network, but I just wanted them to recognize my face instead of just another person that's listening in the audience on Clubhouse.
And I think this is actually very important. So you guys should take notes on a serious note, because this is similar to what I did to the Bitcoin and the American Dream. So Lamar Wilson, who co-founded the Black Bitcoin Billionaires along with Isaiah Jackson, he co-authored a book called Bitcoin and the American Dream, along with Charlene Federico. It was Senator Lummis of Wyoming. Her daughter was on there, as well as Senator Lummis came to the actual event itself. And so I did the same thing that you did, in the sense where, you said, oh, these are the people who are in our community who are helping. You came out. I did the same thing to meet Senator Lummis, as well as to meet Gary Leland and Pete Rizzo and, Jimmy Song and all the people that co-authored this book. And, not only did they have a conversation with me, take pictures with me, but they followed me back on social media. And it's one of those things that when you're networking and you're not afraid to go out there and get it,
correct,
good things happen. So that's why now you're on the podcast, because if you didn't go on the Clubhouse,
correct,
if you didn't come, make sure that you came, but then also make sure that we knew exactly who you were, correct, you wouldn't be at this spot. So I actually want to congratulate you,
thank you,
on that. I also want to congratulate you on the knowledge that you've learned so far. But now I'm going to give you the real questions, the real grilling, because once you got the foundation, then you want to build your house. You know, if you can, I say every day you lay a brick a day, you create the foundation to the house you want to build. So now what house are you building? So I know on social media, your name, like where can people find you on social media first off, and how do you spell it?
Okay. It's TruzzNBelieve. It's TRUZZ, the letter N, believe. And that's on Instagram, Twitter.
Okay. So what are you planning on doing with TruzzNBelieve?
What I plan to do with it? Yeah,
look, we got to build the house now. You got the foundation. That's what brought you here. But now if you're trying to build a house, what are you going to do with TruzzNBelieve?
I would say the first thing I'll do, I need to copyright it so nobody else takes it.
Trademark for sure.
Correct.
So, you got state trademarks and you got like nationwide trademarks. If you get one just in like Michigan or in Texas, that doesn't cover everything around the whole country. Okay. So you typically want to get like a nationwide one. USPTO is like the United States Patent Trademark Office. Okay. And so you want to make sure that you get your trademark for that. They're normally not that expensive. Like they're less than $1,000 overall. Okay. But it can take time. So sometimes it might take a whole year to get that officially under your belt. So what most big businesses they say, hey, we've got this name in mind. The first thing they do is get it trademarked. That's literally one of the very first things that they do. Okay. I know when you're trying to come up, it's normally, hey, let me get some money first and then go do it.
Correct.
But the wealthy people, they do that first.
Okay.
So then once you have TruzzNBelieve, what type of business or what type of job are you looking for? Like what opportunities are you looking in this space?
Ooh. That's a good question. I guess, I don't know.
Well, once you get the foundation, you got to build your house. So if you've learned about Bitcoin and you've learned about the BBB, you've got your networking going on, what does Brittni Truss want to do in this space, or how does she want to utilize this space?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess I'm still waiting to see, still learning and still trying to see how I fit into the space.
Got you. So I know like with Najah, she had just mentioned that there are like 7 different cities now that are giving people to move to their cities $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. And so I know she had talked about Tulsa, Oklahoma. That might be an opportunity for you. Then you've also got like Bitcoin jobs. Like right now, job openings are happening in a major way.
Correct.
So if you sign up like with the Black Bitcoin Billionaires, they are starting to like show you different jobs that are in the making. As well as with the remote job, like I work from my computer and my phone, and that's how I'm able to operate. So there's lots of different opportunities in this space. So I think that you might want to look at how you want to live your life and then just let this Bitcoin space adapt to your life. Because if you already understand it, you're already going to make the moves to win. Correct. Without even consciously thinking about it. You're just automatically going to do it. Mm-hmm. So what are you currently doing as a job or as a career or as a passion?
Currently, I'm an internal auditor. So I just look at paperwork all day.
Oh, internal auditor. And you're an internal auditor for like a bank or US dollars or?
Investment company. So in a sense, investment company that invests in property management.
Property management. Okay. So in theory, if there would be a property, like a company to, sell their properties in cryptocurrency, would you be able to audit that at this point?
Yes.
Well, you got to say with conviction. So what do you do? What do you currently do for audits? Like, so as a CPA, when I think about an audit, I'm thinking about looking at their financial statements, making sure the numbers are right, asking the questions to see, what was the difference in spending money this year versus last year, or this quarter versus last quarter? Why are these things coming up? Does the balance sheet make sense? Things of that nature. So what is an audit to you?
In a sense, kind of copy what you said, just looking at, I guess, more of the ledger and just looking at debits and credits and seeing what their reporting matches, what it pretty much is, see if it matches.
So you're looking at all the different transactions.
Correct.
And you're looking through their bank accounts.
looking through their bank accounts and the ledgers that they report back to us, or they give to us.
Got you. So for you guys with small business, that's essentially like you have all these transactions through your different bank accounts, and then you might have to go through like a QuickBooks.
Right.
Most big businesses, they may use like a SAP or
Correct.
something like that because it's on a grander scale. And she's looking at the individual transactions.
Correct.
Now, one of the things from my expertise is being both in the crypto space and in the accounting space is that this is one of those jobs that is about to get automated. Meaning
Correct.
like you doing internal audits, I would say like 80% of the internal auditors are going to get automated.
Correct.
just due to technology increases.
Correct.
So there are multiple countries around the world that are testing CBDCs, central bank digital currencies that would essentially be like a Fed coin, and it takes away a lot of the cash that are, freely distributed. And since almost all the transactions would be considered digital, they can keep track of everything and they can categorize their expenses without an accountant. And
Right.
so the blockchain will then be basically doing the audits on its own.
Correct.
So the whole idea of auditing is about to completely change.
Correct.
If we move from a fiat system to a CBDC system. So in that case, then you would actually be an industry leader. Does that make sense?
Yes and no.
Because you already understand somewhat how cryptocurrencies work.
Okay.
You should be understanding how the blockchain works. And so then all of a sudden, if they're like, well, just like when the internet came about, there were a lot of people who, did everything accounting with pen and paper.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I'm not using a computer. This is how you do it.
Right.
Well, they're gone.
Correct.
Like they can't execute on a massive scale. They can't compete because they're using pen and paper while people are using machines.
Correct.
So if people start using central bank digital currencies and everything's on the blockchain, people who think that going through all those individual transactions through your eyes, it's going to get automated.
Correct.
So I think it would be good for you to look into like these different blockchains and auditing those transactions versus the US dollar, because very soon that's probably about to turn into a Fed coin, whatever CBDC name they want to call it.
Correct.
Digital yuan, if you're in, all these different countries are all doing it. So, okay, cool. So you're not sure what you want to do in this space yet, but you are doing auditing. And are you willing to move?
Yes.
Okay. I'm doing this also because I know there's a lot of people who are in the same space. They're like, okay, I didn't learn about this Bitcoin stuff, but what do I do with it?
Correct.
And that was one of the questions I had. And that was one of the reasons I went on tour with Najah.
Okay.
Because I was like, look, I know about this crypto stuff. I got my CPA. But due to COVID, it changed my whole business model. And so I was like, well, let me go meet as many people as I possibly can. And then just the network alone, I believe, will take care of you.
Okay.
So I think that you continue to travel, you continue to move around, would help you out drastically, staying connected to the community.
Correct.
And keep learning, because everything you've learned for the last year and a half is starting to happen now.
Right.
Like everything. So if you want to tell the people one thing, what would that be?
As far as
whatever message you want to get off your chest. This is your 5 seconds of fame.
Oh goodness.
I mean, you can
like
get more
fame.
5 seconds later on, but right now it's your first 5. So what would you tell everybody right now?
I guess just be consistent in whatever you're doing and don't give up. It can get hard, it can get bumpy, but just stay consistent and just keep going.
Yeah, for sure. And network.
Right, and network.
We're accessible. BBB, we made this to be accessible. Najah Roberts traveled to be accessible.
Correct.
So, keep it up. CJ the Smart Guy, Brittni Truss. And look,
goodness.
Later on when y'all see Brittni Truss doing big things, just remember I was one of the first ones to interview her.